Hey, so for anybody who doesn't know you, would you please say your name and what is your relationship to World Builder Studios?
Yeah, sure. My name is Claire McClelland, and I am the artist of the group. I create the thumbnails for the videos.
We appreciate you for that. Okay, Claire, so we are doing this list thing where we ask the members of our group to do the sort of top 10 list of their favorite films, and we'd like you to explain your top films. So let's start with number 10. What's number 10 for you?
My top 10?
Yeah, your top 10.
I have it right here on my phone.
Okay, what do you got?
So, my 10th film on my top 10 list is Sleeping Beauty from Walt Disney, made in 1959.
Okay, why'd you pick this film?
So, I picked this film to be my 10th one on the top 10 list because I've always loved it since I was really little. The artwork in the film, the costumes, the setting, the story, and the villain, of course.
Okay. What kind of impact did this have on you, basically?
Well, when I was a kid, I grew up watching Disney films. I watched them all on VHRs. And this one was very impactful for me because when I was little, I've never seen them do artwork like that before. And it was beautiful. It was like something that I would see in either rose windows in churches or tapestries.
Okay. Do you have any final thoughts about the film?
My final thoughts. As good as it may be, there are some things that if I were to change about the film, I would. Maybe the love interest for one, kind of obvious, right? And maybe the impact with King Stefan and the Queen, maybe. Have them be more impactful with Princess Aurora.
Okay. Is that what you gotta say?
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it on that.
Okay, so let's move to your number 9 choice, and that would be...
My 9th choice is Nightmare Before Christmas by Henry Selick, released in 1993.
Okay, why'd you pick this film?
I picked this film because I love the claymation in that film. The story is something I'd never also had seen before when I was a kid. And I love the music, the atmosphere. It's so perfect for Halloween, but also the fact that you can watch it anytime between Halloween to November and Christmas, or basically year round.
Okay, what kind of impact did this have on you when you watched it?
Well, when I was a kid, I fell in love with this film because of the artwork. I've always been a huge fan ever since that film came out of things that are very gothic, creepy, and kind of in different sizes and proportion sizes with body length, fingers, eyes and stuff like that.
Well, this is a lot of people thought this was a Tim Burton film, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think that, well, technically it is his film because he made the story. He also had the help with Danny Elfman with the music. He made the storyboards. It is his original idea. However, a lot of people don't know is that Henry Selick, he directed it. So technically, it's a mashup of both Tim Burton and Henry Selick.
Okay, you have any final thoughts about the film you'd like to bring up?
With my final thoughts on this film, I would say, I don't know exactly what to say. To me, it's a beautiful film. I probably would change the curiosity of Jack Skellington, though. And I understand that he wants to have his own Christmas, but the kidnapping Santa was what?
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to your number 8 pick, and what would that be?
My 8th one, that would be Legend by Ridley Scott, released in 1985.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, why'd you pick this film?
I picked this film as my 8th one because this film, for me, as many other films, as I'll explain later, had got me fascinated with the fantasy genre. And the way that it's set it's just so beautiful. Like, the forest, the music, the atmosphere, that it changes so differently, and the characters that go along with it, it's beautiful.
Okay, how did this film impact you now when you saw it?
When I first saw it, I thought it was amazing. And Tim Curry's character as the Darkness was fucking amazing. He scared the living crap out of me when I was a kid, and I thought he was, in one of my minds, probably one of the best villains of all time.
Any final thoughts you'd like to say about the film?
I'm not sure exactly what I would say about this film, because a lot of it I think is beautifully done.
Well, if you had to, there's like a director's cut and a theatrical cut. Which one do you prefer?
I like both, to be honest, because they both have their merits.
Okay. Why do you like both versions, if I may ask?
Well, the theatrical cut, I believe, because it has Tangerine Dream's song "Loved by the Sun." I love that song. It's amazing. But the director's cut, I feel, has a bit more scenes with darkness in it, which is really cool.
Alright. So that's your final thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on to your seventh choice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Alright, what's that?
My seventh choice is Labyrinth by Jim Henson, released in 1986.
Alright. Why'd you pick this film?
I picked this film because, again, this also kind of got me into the whole fantasy genre of films. And I, just like Legend, I loved this film. There were so many like kooky, like crazy things happening. It kind of reminded me of what if Alice in Wonderland was set in a maze.
Okay. So what kind of impact did this film have on you when you first saw it?
When I first saw it when I was younger, I would admit it was so confusing at first that I didn't know what was going on. But since I've watched it more over time, I kind of got more into it. I got the fact that it was a girl's fantasy. I got it was a growing up tale. It was about going over irrational things, and to know that you have to do both things in order to make your goal.
Okay. Any final thoughts you want to say about the film?
If I were to have like any final things about this film, I would probably do something about Sarah's character. I love her as a protagonist, but I feel like she could be a bit less
whiny, right?
Less whiny. I mean, I get the fact that she's like a teen in this, but do you really have to make every teen like look and act like this?
Obviously, but yeah, David Bowie in the film also, though, right?
Oh my god, David Bowie is like, oh my god. Like, I was jealous when they were dancing, and I'm like, lucky bitch.
Okay. So that brings us now to your sixth choice. What would that be?
My sixth choice is The Black Cauldron by John Hudson, released in 1985.
Oh, this is... why'd you pick this film?
I love The Black Cauldron. For me, it is an underrated Disney movie, which I kind of hate that it's underrated, but I also love that it's underrated because it doesn't get much attention, but it also does at the same time. It's kind of hard to explain. Okay. I love this because this film scared me, again, as a child because of the Horn King. He was creepy and scary as hell.
It's John Hurt playing him, right?
Oh my god, yeah, rest in peace, man.
Okay, what impact did this film have on you, out of curiosity?
This film had an impact on me because it gave me a more way of looking of how creepy an atmosphere can be, of how scary things can be during times of darkness, and how much you have to keep persisting through that time, no matter how scary it might be for you.
Okay, any final thoughts you want to say about the film?
If I were to have any final thoughts, I would change Taran's character, and Gurgi can go and fuck himself. I'm sorry. I don't know why Gurgi's in that.
Comic relief, I think.
I know, but couldn't you have had like Luda do something more?
I guess not.
I guess not. Anyways.
Okay, so that brings us on to your fifth choice, and what film is that?
My fifth choice is The Dark Crystal by Jim Henson, released in 1982.
Well, this is another Jim Henson film, alright.
Yeah, another Jim Henson film.
Okay, why'd you pick this film?
I picked this film because this also got me into the fantasy genre. A lot of these films got me more in depth to looking at fantasy films and how it's just so beautiful in my mind.
Okay. What impact did this film have on you, out of curiosity?
For me, this had an impact because I felt when I was a kid, when I was very young, I felt like I was kind of like Jen.
What, Jen?
Like Jen.
Like
because at the beginning, he's all alone. He just lost, he lost his master, who was also like a father figure for him, and he has to go on this journey alone. And for me, at the time, that was so brave of him to go through. Because when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of friends, and unfortunately I was an outcast. So I thought, you know what, I could be just like him.
Okay. Any final thoughts you want to say about the film?
If I were to have any final thoughts about the film, oh my god, I would probably do something about the Chamberlain. God, he pisses me off so many times every time he does that thing.
It's his shtick, I guess.
And I would probably maybe do something about Fizzgig as well.
Kind of annoying, right?
He's kind of annoying, but he's not too annoying, that's the thing.
Well, you gotta admit that those puppets they used were, like, really, really good, though, right?
Oh my god, yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, so that brings us to your fourth film, if I'm not mistaken. And what did you pick for your fourth?
My fourth one, now this was tricky, but I would have to go with, this is something I've recently watched.
What's that?
And that would be Phantom of the Opera with Robert Englund by Dwight H. Little, released in 1989.
Ah, this is an interesting pick. Why did you pick this film now?
I picked this film because recently, as everyone has probably have seen by this point, if not, please check it out. We did a review on this film, and I thought at first this is probably just going to be like an ordinary like Phantom of the Opera film, but then I was like, whoa, this went totally in a different place.
Okay.
Because it kind of almost had that Wonderland feel, because she kind of transports to another world, in this case a different time frame. Which I kind of got that feel, so it felt really interesting. And Robert Englund, he's awesome. He's an amazing actor, as always.
Well, most people usually associate him with Freddy Krueger, so...
Yeah, that was the only downfall with that film, is that they kept hyping up that this guy is like Freddy Krueger, but you gotta remember, like, this is an entirely different film.
Okay, how did this film impact you now, out of curiosity?
I feel like this film kind of impacted me, especially recently, because I understand, like, from the main character's perspective, that she's a struggling, like, new artist. She's trying to make her first, like, foot in the door kind of approach, and she, as you know, kind of blows people out of the water at first, but people are always taking a step back. And she's stuck between choosing, like, her passion for music and the theater versus, like, what is actually really good for her. It's always a difficult process to go by.
Alright. Any final thoughts you have on the film?
Final thoughts, I would do something about the love interest.
No,
Richard,
which should be Raoul, right?
Yeah, I would change his name back to Raoul, because I watched, like, previous Phantom of the Opera things, and
like
his name...
the Lloyd Webber version, right?
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, and his name was always Raoul, and, like, it's Christine Daae.
Not
Christine Day. It's like, oh my god, please.
Yeah.
But other than that, I love it.
Okay. So that's your fourth, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep.
Now let's move on to your third. What's your third choice?
My third choice is a mixture, actually, of a trilogy.
Oh.
And you all know, are gonna know this one. It's Lord of the Rings series by Peter Jackson, released from 2001 to 2003.
Obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why did you pick these movies now?
I picked these movies to be my third one because I love the tale, the story, how they're all separated and they go through these different stages and they're always fighting to keep persisting to make it to that one goal.
Okay. What impact did this film have on you now, basically, when you saw it?
Well, in the early 2000s, I was little. I would have been probably oh boy, I probably would have been not even near 10 years old when I saw these films. Which is kind of violent when you think about it, because these are violent films.
Well, they were 14 in Canada, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But our parents snuck us in during the theaters to see it anyway.
Yeah.
But I love these series because this was one of the main ones that got me into fantasy genre.
Okay.
And it's a compelling tale about all these struggles that these characters all face in different ways, but they all meet up in the end. It's beautiful.
Okay, any final thoughts you would have on the film?
Oh man. I love it just the way it is, even with its flaws.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't think I would change it for the world. Hobbit's a different issue all on its own.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing I want to say about these series, a lot of people would probably be interested to know about this, is that I actually met one of the actors who was in Lord of the Rings series.
Who did you meet?
I met the actor who plays Pippin.
Oh, Billy Boyd?
Yeah, I met Billy Boyd at Comic-Con here in London.
Well, what was Billy like exactly?
Oh, he was charming and he was so fun to meet. And luckily he handed me my autograph before I leave because I almost completely forgot about it, so that was amazing.
Alright. So that moves on to your second pick, and what would that be?
Alright, second pick, let me see here. My second pick is Beetlejuice by Tim Burton, released in 1988.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so why'd you pick this film?
Well, I picked this film to be my second favorite because this is one of my all-time favorite Tim Burton films. I love a lot of Tim Burton's film, but this one has a special place in my heart. I love Lydia Deetz. She speaks to my soul.
Oh, figures, right?
Yeah. And I understand the troubles Lydia is going through. She just moved and she's in pretty much the middle of nowhere. She has no friends. Her stepmother is awful to her, and her dad's oblivious to it. It's a lot of things to go through.
Okay. How did this film impact you when you saw it now?
When I first saw it, I thought it was so fascinating, especially because it was a different intake of how the dead are viewed. It's reviewed as some kind of
a bureaucracy or something?
Yeah.
Alright.
And in a way it's weird because you never expected people to think that death might be in orderly fashion. But at the same time so chaotic you don't understand anything that's going on, and sometimes that's what some people view that in life, which is why I feel in some cases I'd rather be on Beetlejuice's side.
He's got the right idea, right?
I know. He's wild, he's crazy, and he doesn't give a damn about what other people think.
Alright. Any final thoughts you have about the film?
If I were to change a few things about this film, probably the whole confusion that Barbara and Adam go through when they are trying to get rid of the living that are living in their house. I've got a feeling they're always pushed aside. They're no, you got this, you can do it yourself. But it's we don't know they don't know what they're doing.
You have to admit though that whole Banana Boat song scene was pretty funny.
I actually did that in high school.
Yeah, I saw that. You were pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, now the moment we've all been waiting for. Your final choice. would you please explain to us what your final choice is?
My final choice, my favorite film of all time, my number uno one, is Atlantis: The Lost Empire by Gary Trousdale and Kurt Wise, released in 2001.
Oh, this is interesting. Why did you pick this film now?
This film, oh my god, I love it so much. The animation in that film is beautiful, the artwork, the characters, the way they're struggling, but at the same time there's so much mystery, you do not know what's going on until near the end. And the battles, the character arc, it's amazing.
It's got a very epic scope, you would say, right?
It's epic to the grand max, exactly. And I love Milo Thatch and I love Keita. They are my all-time favorite Disney couple of all time. I love their chemistry so much because she is a warrior princess. She just wants to protect her people and to have a better place for her future. And she just wants to know what happened to her past. And he wants to help her, but he's reluctant. But she helps her through that. It is amazing.
Okay, I suppose the next logical question we ask is, what kind of impact did this film have on you growing up?
For me as a kid, when I saw this was mind-blowing. Because the scene where Keita is selected to become one with the crystal, that was probably the most epic scene of all time I've ever saw. I cried because I thought Keita was going to be gone forever, and I felt Milo's pain so much.
Okay.
It was so epic, and I actually, this is a weird thing, but this movie also kind of got me into collecting crystals, actually. Crystals and gemstones.
Alright. Do you have any final thoughts about both this movie and this list as a whole, maybe?
So, for final thoughts about this film, I can't really say I would change a lot about this. I probably added maybe just a tad more like thriller and suspense and maybe a bit more mystery behind. But other than that, I love it all the same. For my list, it was hard choosing a lot of these films because I have like so many other ones I could have chosen. But to me, whenever I think about these films, I would watch repeatedly to death and I wouldn't even care about it. And to the point where I would even have almost like lines memorized from the film. It's I love it. I probably wouldn't change it for the world.
Okay, is that all you got to say?
I think that is, yes.
Well, thank you very much, Claire, for coming in today and talking about your list. And would you do us the honors by signing off, please?
Yeah, this is Thomas McClelland, artist of the World Builder Studio, signing off. Please check us out. We have a lot more videos coming out. And if you have any like questions about like the thumbnails, please ask me. I have my Facebook thing and I have my Instagram.
Thank you, Claire, and hope you'll do more lists in the future, huh?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, see ya.
See ya.